Welcome to the deep dive, where we cut through the noise and distill complex information into clear, actionable insights for you. Today, we're diving deep into a topic central to anyone considering an MBA, the GMAT exam.
That's exactly right. We've compiled, well, a pretty comprehensive stack of sources detailing the fascinating history, the significant evolution, and the intricate changes the GMAT has undergone, especially with the, game-changing introduction of the GMAT Focus Edition.
Hey, well,
Our mission today is really to highlight the most crucial shifts and make sure you understand exactly what this means for your prep and, well, your application strategy.
Yeah, we'll explore the core purpose of the GMAT, how its structure and scoring have been, fundamentally transformed, you could say. Plus the new test-taker-friendly features it offers, and those vital aspects of test security and score reporting. By the end of this deep dive, you'll be fully equipped to navigate the updated GMAT landscape with confidence.
Okay, let's unpack this. So, to really understand where the GMAT is now, we probably need to glance back a bit. This exam isn't some fleeting trend. It has a pretty rich history, right? Absolutely. It launched way back in 1953. The GMAT exam was, well, revolutionary for its time. It was literally created by business schools for business schools, specifically to standardize and help with the admissions process. What's fascinating is how it's consistently adapted, almost like a living thing, really, to meet the evolving needs of both the schools and, of course, you, the candidates, over like 7 decades now.
And a significant part of that evolution was the GMAT exam, the 10th edition, which was the standard between, 2012 and 2024. For those of us who might remember that version, or for new listeners needing context, what did that GMAT look like?
What did that GMAT look like? Right, so that version measured higher-order reasoning skills across 4 distinct sections: verbal, quantitative, analytical writing, and integrated reasoning. And it all culminated in that familiar total score range of 200 to 800. For quantitative reasoning, you had 31 questions, a mix of data sufficiency and problem solving, crammed into 62 minutes. This section aimed to assess your ability to reason quantitatively, solve problems, interpret graphic data, covering, foundational arithmetic, algebra, and geometry. Scores range from 0 to 60, but what's important is that very few test takers actually scored at the extreme low or high ends, meaning the effective scoring range for really telling people apart was quite compressed.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
And verbal reasoning involved 36 questions, reading comprehension, critical reasoning, sentence correction, all within 65 minutes. This measured your ability to read and comprehend, evaluate arguments, and correct written English. Also scored 0 to 60, with similarly sort of compressed effective ranges. Then there was integrated reasoning, or IR. 12 questions in 30 minutes across types like multi-source reasoning and graphics interpretation. Scores here were just 1 to 8, and crucially, no partial credit for multi-part questions. And this score was not included in your main total score.
Ah, okay, that's a key point.
Definitely. And finally, the analytical writing assessment, the AWA. That was a single 30-minute essay analyzing an argument, scored separately from 0 to 6, and again, had no effect on any other scores or your overall total score. It was graded by both people and a machine algorithm.
So we have this broad exam, distinct sections, but some of them, like AWA and IR, were almost like siloed from that main 800-point score everyone focused on. But the business world doesn't stand still, right? Neither do the skills needed. So that brings us to the GMAT Focus Edition. What was the real driving force behind such a big overhaul?
Well, the shift to the Focus Edition was really a direct response to, I'd say, 2 fundamental things: the evolving skill sets that business schools now prioritize, and a more diverse, more global test-taking population. Over the years, scores on the old exam they'd kind of drifted and become unevenly distributed, like bunched up. The new score scale aims to reset that, bringing scores back to a more normal, bell-shaped distribution.
okay.
This means your score on the Focus Edition gives a much clearer, more precise indication of your abilities, allowing for better differentiation between candidates. It's about making every point on that new scale a sharper signal of your strengths.
That makes sense. A clearer picture. So for you, the test taker, what does this new, more streamlined structure actually look like day to day, or rather, test to test?
Yeah, the GMAT Focus Edition is now a much more efficient 2 hours and 15 minutes long. Just one optional 10-minute break. The total question count dropped to 64, and here's a critical change. It has 3 equally weighted sections, and all of them, every single one, now contribute to your total score.
Ah, okay, that is a big change. No more siloed sections.
Exactly. First, quantitative reasoning. That's 21 multiple-choice problem-solving questions in 45 minutes. It measures your foundational algebraic and arithmetic knowledge applied to problem-solving. Score range now 60 to 90.
60 to 90, got it.
Next, verbal reasoning. 23 multiple-choice reading comprehension and critical reasoning questions, also 45 minutes. This assesses your ability to read and comprehend written material and to reason and evaluate arguments. Again, score range 60 to 90.
Okay, same range.
And finally, the big spotlight is on the new Data Insights section. This has 20 multiple-choice questions, 45 minutes again. It brings back some familiar question types like data sufficiency, multi-source reasoning, graphics interpretation, table analysis, and you get an on-screen calculator for this one.
A calculator, that's new for, well, parts of it.
It is. And what's crucial to understand about Data Insights isn't just the mechanics. It's a clear signal from the top business schools. It measures your ability to analyze and interpret data for real-world business scenarios, leveraging this newly calibrated digital and data literacy dimension, which is frankly one of the most relevant and in-demand skills in business today. Score range is also 60 to 90, and remember, for multi-part questions, all parts have to be right to get credit.
So the AWA and the old integrated reasoning, they're completely gone from the main scoring picture, and Data Insights steps right into the limelight, directly reflecting that growing importance of data literacy. This reprioritization, it sounds like a fundamental shift in what the GMAT is actually evaluating. How does this ripple through to the scoring itself, especially with that new scale?
That's an excellent question, and yeah, the impact is significant. The GMAT Focus Edition total score scale now ranges from 205 to 805, and a clear identifier, a little trick, is that all total score values end in a 5.
Ah, interesting. 205, 215, up to 805.
Exactly. And each of your section scores, quant, verbal, data insights, ranges from 60 to 90. And like you said, the total score is now a direct reflection of all three sections, equally weighted. The entire scoring algorithm has been updated for this new test construct.
Okay, this raises a really, really important point for anyone trying to make sense of the results or maybe comparing scores they hear about. If the scores look different, how do you compare them? I've heard that phrase tossed around, 645 is the new 700. What does that really mean for you as a test taker and I guess for the schools looking at these scores?
This is absolutely crucial, and honestly, it's a point of frequent misunderstanding. Let's be clear. Test scores from the two different exam versions are not on a common scale. You should never, ever directly compare them. A 600 on the old GMAT and a 605 on the Focus Edition might look numerically close, but they represent very different performance levels on different skills and fundamentally different test designs.
Right. Apples and oranges, kind of.
Exactly. On the old GMAT exam, 10th edition, a 700 was often seen as that big benchmark, right? On the GMAT Focus Edition, a score of 645 is considered statistically equivalent to that 700 from the previous version. This is because of the new scale and that intentional resetting to a bell-shaped distribution.
Okay.
So while your score might numerically appear lower compared to old GMAT scores you might be used to seeing or hearing about, it isn't actually lower in terms of performance level. The exam is simply scored differently. And trust me, business schools are fully aware of this. They understand the new scale perfectly. They were involved in the change.
Okay, that's reassuring. So direct numerical comparison is out. What's the most reliable way then for you to understand your performance and, your competitiveness?
It really means percentile rankings are more important than ever before. Percentiles truly tell you where you stand relative to other test takers. They indicate what percentage of test takers you performed better than. So, for example, a 75th percentile means you scored better than 75% of others who took that specific test.
Right, it gives context.
Precisely. So when you need to compare your competitiveness based on the GMAT Focus Edition score to the previous GMAT exam, using percentile rankings is the most appropriate and accurate method. GMAT even provides a concordance table for this, which they update annually. For instance, just looking at recent data, July 2019 to June 2024, a 700 on the GMAT 10th edition was at the 91.3th percentile. That corresponds to a 655 on the GMAT Focus Edition at the exact same percentile.
655. Okay, so that 655 is the new 700 in percentile terms for that period?
In percentile terms, exactly. That's your true comparison point.
Okay, moving beyond the scoring, which is obviously a massive change. What about new features? Does the GMAT Focus Edition offer anything that genuinely enhances, your experience taking the test?
Oh, definitely. The Focus Edition introduces two key test-taker-friendly features that offer pretty significant strategic advantages, I think. First, there's question review and edit. This is quite cool. As you work through a section, you can bookmark questions you're unsure about. Once you've answered everything in that section, assuming you still have time left, you'll go to a dedicated review screen for just that section.
Okay.
From there, you can review any question you want, bookmarked or not, and here's the game changer. You can actually edit up to 3 answers per section.
Wow, edit 3 answers. That's huge.
It really is.
Yeah.
It gives you unprecedented control over time management and allows for strategic adjustments if you have a moment of clarity later on or realize you misread something.
That could make a real difference. What's the second feature?
The second is select section order. This is big for personalization. You can choose to complete the 3 sections: quantitative reasoning, verbal reasoning, and data insights, in any order you prefer.
Any order at all.
Any order you like. Imagine starting with the section you feel strongest in to build confidence, or maybe tackling your toughest section first while your brain is freshest. You also get flexibility for your optional 10-minute break. You can take it after the first section or after the second. It really puts you in the driver's seat of your own test experience.
That's truly significant control over how you approach the exam. Okay, so once you've navigated all that, completed your exam, how do you actually receive your score? And what level of detail does that official report provide? Is it just numbers?
Good question. You'll get an unofficial score immediately after finishing the exam, right there on the screen. However, your official score report becomes available in your MBA.com account, typically within, say, 1 to 3 days. Though, in rare cases, it might take up to 20 days.
Okay, 1 to 3 days usually.
Yeah. And this report, it's incredibly comprehensive now, far beyond just your total in section scores and percentile rankings. You get deep, detailed insights. For example, you get a performance by section overview, naturally, but also a performance by program and school chart. This compares your total score percentile rankings specifically to other test takers who sent scores to the same programs you applied to, looking back over the past 5 years.
Oh, that's useful context.
Very useful, yeah. But that chart only appears, of course, if you actually choose to send your score to programs.
Makes sense.
The report also includes these incredibly useful subsection charts. These break down your performance on specific content domains, question types, and even fundamental skills within each individual section. This really helps you pinpoint not just where you maybe struggled, but what type of thinking or content area needs more work. It's super granular.
So really drilling down into the specifics.
Exactly. And you'll also see time management and performance data. It shows your response time for each question, including any time you spent reviewing it. This is invaluable for refining your pacing for next time, maybe. And, very helpfully, there's a summary of question review and changes. It shows your review activity, how much time you spent reviewing, how many answers you changed, helping you evaluate if those last-minute edits actually helped your score.
Wow, it's like getting a full post-game analysis of your performance. That highly personalized breakdown sounds like an incredible tool for understanding your strengths and weaknesses. So after all that, what about sending your scores to business schools? Do you have control over which scores they ultimately see?
Yes, you have significant control and flexibility here, which is a big plus. Included in your GMAT registration fee, you can send your official score report to up to 5 programs for free. But you have to do it within a 48-hour period after your official score is made available on MBA.com.
Okay, 48 hours for the free sends.
Right. After that period, or if you want to send your score to more than 5 programs, you can purchase additional score reports for a fee, as long as your score is still valid, which is 5 years.
5 years validity. Okay.
But here's the best part. You get to review your official score before you decide whether to send it to any schools at all.
Really? You see it first?
You see it first. You only send the scores you want schools to see. This means there's absolutely no need to cancel a score unless there's a very specific security or administrative issue, like a major disruption during your test.
So no more score cancellation anxiety unless something truly weird happens.
Pretty much. Your scores remain valid for 5 years. And critically, business schools are fully aware of all these changes. They accept scores from either the GMAT Focus Edition or the previous GMAT exam. They don't prefer one version over the other. Valid scores are valid scores.
That flexible score sending option is truly empowering. Offers a lot of peace of mind, I bet. Okay, finally, let's talk about test security. It's absolutely vital, right, for maintaining the integrity of this exam and ensuring a fair playing field for everyone. What measures are actually in place?
Oh, test security is comprehensive and incredibly robust. It has to be. When you register, you agree to the GMAT exam policies and procedures, and that's a legally binding contract. GMAT takes extensive measures to ensure fairness and validity, whether you're testing at a physical test center or taking the exam online at home.
Okay, so what does that look like at a test center?
At test centers, measures include things like a strict ID check, making sure it's valid and matches, palm vein scans for identity verification.
Palm veins. Wow.
Yeah, pretty high-tech. Delivery using proprietary software in a secure, locked-down environment. Continuous live monitoring by human proctors via webcam and microphone. And even after the test, advanced post-exam forensic analysis to catch any attempts at cheating. Personal items, notes, unauthorized aids, absolutely not allowed in the testing room. Instead, you're provided with erasable noteboards and markers.
Okay, pretty locked down. What about the online exam? How do they secure that?
The security is equally rigorous for the online exam, just implemented differently. It includes authentication via an approved valid ID and a live check-in process with a human proctor. Thorough 360-degree room scans and continuous video monitoring of your workspace are mandatory. They use proprietary software to ensure no other programs are running, with updated detection for prohibited applications, and, of course, continuous live proctoring. Technology is also used to confirm you are who you say you are throughout the test and that you're not getting any outside help. You absolutely must have a clear desk. No one else can be in the room. And you have to use a specific physical whiteboard no larger than 12 by 20 inches or 30 by 50 centimeters. You have to show it's blank to the camera before you start, after any breaks, and at the very end of the exam.
And things like phones, smartwatches.
Definitely not. No phones, smartwatches, or external monitors, especially ultra-wide or touchscreen ones, allowed within arm's reach. They're very strict about that.
It sounds like they've covered pretty much every angle to ensure fairness. So what happens if someone does violate these strict rules? What are the consequences?
The consequences are, frankly, severe.
Yeah.
They have to be to protect the exam's integrity, which affects everyone. All test sessions are recorded and thoroughly reviewed by specialized security forensics teams.
Yeah.
Violations can lead to score cancellations, and that can include scores from past exams too.
Oh, wow, even past scores.
Yes. Schools you apply to will be informed of the cancellation. There's potential for legal action, both civil and criminal in serious cases, and restrictions or outright bans on future testing. For instance, there's always a minimum 16-day wait to retest after any exam attempt. If you achieve a perfect 805 score, or if you request your GMAT account be deleted, that can result in a 5-year ban from testing.
A 5-year ban for a perfect score. Why?
It's a security measure, likely to prevent individuals from repeatedly taking the test just to harvest questions or for other potentially nefarious purposes after achieving the maximum score.
Okay, that makes sense.
And for really serious violations, you could face a lifetime ban from all GMAT assessments. GMAT also meticulously categorizes these score cancellations by cause and might even put notations on your official score report that schools can see.
Notations? Like what?
Well, testing issues, marked with a T, are usually for administrative or technical errors. The remedy might be a free retest or a refund. Policy violations, marked P, are for things like accessing unauthorized materials, looking away from the screen too much, not following instructions, disruptive behavior. Penalties include score cancellations, losing your fee, schools being notified, and potential bans.
Okay.
Then there are serious policy violations marked with an S. These are for the really egregious stuff, falsifying your identity, having someone else take the test for you, using generative AI tools to cheat, improperly accessing or disclosing test content, fraudulent payment.
The really bad stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Penalties here are the most severe. Score cancellation, forfeiture of fees, school notifications, minimum 1 year up to lifetime bans, and potential legal action.
That really underscores how seriously GMAT takes the fairness and integrity of the GMAT. So for you, our listener, if you happen to observe any suspicious behavior or have security concerns yourself, you can actually report them confidentially. The email is testsecurity@gmac.com. It's a critical step we can all take in ensuring the GMAT remains a credible and fair assessment for every single candidate. Wow. We've covered a remarkable amount of ground today, from the GMAT's foundational roots way back when to its modern, really data-centric Focus Edition. We've delved into the nuanced scoring, those powerful new features, the detailed reports you receive, and the incredibly robust security measures that underpin the entire process. It's clear that GMAT isn't just some static test. It's a dynamic, evolving tool that's constantly adapting to assess the exact skills needed for today's business leaders.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how the exam continuously refines its focus. It's shifted from what was maybe a broader academic assessment to a much more targeted evaluation of skills like data literacy and critical thinking. And these aren't just buzzwords, right? They are explicitly called out by schools and employers as essential for success in our increasingly tech-driven and data-rich world. It really shows the GMAT's commitment to staying relevant.
Absolutely. Which raises, I think, an important final question for you, our listener, to ponder. Given the GMAT's consistent, quite strategic evolution to meet the dynamic needs of both business schools and candidates, how might other high-stakes, standardized tests, maybe across different fields entirely, need to adapt in the future to remain truly relevant and predictive in our rapidly changing global landscape?